Welcome to Around the Product Development, which is our weekly series where we deep dive into the world of digital product creation and all in 25 minutes. Here we explore every stage from ideation to conversion and monetization, providing you with actionable insights and practical knowledge. Each week, we bring you fresh perspectives from industry experts, giving you the opportunity to learn directly from their hands-on experience. All this is possible thanks to our Agile Product Builders community, which is a Slack community powered by Boldare, digital product creators and consultants. And today, a very interesting topic I believe we're gonna tackle with my guest Luis. We're gonna, kind of discover shift that many companies face right now, moving from project-based approach to a product-driven mindset. So more traditional way versus dynamic expectations from the markets. Usually the traditional often limit adaptability, increase technical debt, fail to maximize long-term value. So these are the topics we're gonna try to handle. And I'm joined, as I said, by Luis Gonçalves, an agile transformation expert, product leadership consultant, entrepreneur, best-selling author, international keynote speaker. I believe I could just, keep going, but
Or
just
simply Luis.
Luis, exactly. Luis spent years, guiding organizations worldwide in redefining their approach to digitization, right? Digital product creation, ensuring long-term innovation, making a difference. Hello, Luis. How are you today?
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here, Oskar. Yeah, thank you so much for the whole titles. It was simply Luis, it's fine. A guy
Awesome.
that I think failed more than what succeeded. I like to mention this because a lot of people
I
think that I am
believe,
where I am.
yeah.
Where I am because I'm smart. No, I'm not smart. I'm just able to recover from the stupidity that I do during my entire career. But a bit about myself. So first of all, thank you. A bit about myself. I'm a Portuguese guy. Left Portugal 20 years ago. I joined Nokia in 2005. And I was lucky enough at that time I joined as a software developer. So I have a degree in software engineer. And I joined Nokia at the time where they did, at the time, the biggest job transformation in the world. And that's how I started to enter into this whole product development thing. So I started there with agility, then I ran to Germany. I worked in several companies as a Scrum Master, Agile Coach, organizational, then consulted my own company. And Finland, Germany, a lot of time in Poland, Canada. I live in Brazil, now in Portugal and Saudi Arabia. So I've been all over the place, and I'm looking forward to share a bit of my knowledge and about my failures with everyone here. So I hope it will be a
I love
useful
it. Love
session.
your vast range of experiences. So not only work-wise, but cultural wise as well, which is sometimes a key to, product market fit on right part of the world. All right, going to the point. Many companies nowadays struggle with delivering. I'm not even talking about the long-term value because the long-term now shifted. The market now is so dynamic that we cannot almost talk about long-term value in terms of the strategies we used to build for in 5, 10 years, right?
Correct.
But we do still have companies stuck in a project-based mindset. And before we get into how to change them, let's start with a bit of why. I would love to ask you about what are the key differences between a project-oriented and a product-oriented approach. So you could just give some specific examples of how it manifests in an organizations.
Yeah, so I will touch in a couple of them, not all. So if people want to go deeper in the adaptmethodology.com, on top there is a project to product, a long blog post where I
Awesome.
show 15, 16 different project versus product, so I don't want to, because we don't have so much time. But let's focus the three biggest ones that I think. So when I go to conferences, the first question that I ask, and it's very provocative, I show the project delivery, the triangle, right? So on time, on budget, with quality, right? And then I ask everyone, so if you deliver on time, on budget, with quality, it is a success project. And everyone says, yes, it's very successful. You say, okay, great. So if you put an application on your phone that doesn't solve any business problem, doesn't solve anything help you to solve anything from your daily basis, it was done on time, with quality, with quality and budget on time, would you install it? No. So that's, for me, even if it's not a structure, we're not even talking about structure, I'm talking about value, right? Because a lot of the project organizations are very focused on delivering stuff, as I call it, right? Requirements. It's a machine of delivering stuff, but it's not really focused on delivering business customer problems, right? So this is the biggest one, right? So if you are concerned in delivering stuff instead of delivering impact, right there you have a problem. The second one that I like to point out is a lot of how the organization is designed, right? So a lot of the organizations are designed around projects. They have the department, IT, software, they have the quality, they have the delivery, they have whatever. So this is a very, very typical tradition, organizational design. And just 2 weeks ago, by coincidence, I talked with a bank in Saudi Arabia where I said, we are a very product-oriented company. And then I talked with the product owner, and the product owner doesn't even have access to the developers because he needs to collect the requirements, send to the head of delivery. The head of delivery needs to send to the assistant of whatever. And then they need to see where does it fit on the team. So right there, the whole organizational design, right? We want to create a product organization. We want to create, maybe not as radical as I defend on my books, because I believe that we should destroy departments and build value streams. So I truly believe that the whole organization should be based on value streams, because the traditional project, a bit of history right now, the project came from the industrial era, when we were manufacturing cars, where we wanted to produce as much stuff as possible with the least defect as possible. For that, we wanted to organize a company optimized for cost reduction. Right now, we want, in the digital era for product, we want to organize for time to market, right? So it's a very, very different, a very different way. And the second one, or the third one, sorry, and as I said, 14, 15 that I have, but let's just talk a little bit so that we can go to other topics here. It's the way how the whole budgeting is done, in my opinion. It's a huge difference when you have an organization that is, the budgeting is done based on, again, on departments, and this is a bit outcome of the previous one. You don't want to have an organization built on departments. You want to have an organization where the budgeting is done with products. And the way how we usually do, we create the whole value streams. We create the OKRs. We can use any other tool, but the OKRs, right, that are mapping the strategy of your product, and you get a bag of money and you sponsor the OKRs, not the departments, but the OKRs with the value streams. And with that, it's very, very cool, because you have all the flexibility and the speed that you want, because you are working in one product, but might be that the next quarter you want to work in another sub-product or whatever. So if you have an organization around value stream where you have OKRs every 3 months, and then you have a budget process that sponsors the value streams and not the departments, you can shift very fast, right? And you don't take the risk of spending budget in one department and the other department has too much budget in, and then needs to buy some flowers or sofas just to not lose the budget for the next year.
Exactly.
So there are several, like as I said, there are 16, the way how you do marketing, the way how you do the quality part, the way how you do from where the business requirements come from. In traditional projects, usually it's the IT drives the whole thing because the IT drives the requirements. A product, it's the product or the sales business/sales that drive the product. So there are several, at least there are 16 that I wanted. So if people want to go further, adaptmethodology.com / then on top there is project to product, and then you have so that we can cut it and can make
definitely.
another topic.
I believe, just to sum it up, there is this law. It's called the Conway's law, right? Which states that the organizations design systems that mirror their own communication structure. Meaning, like, if you're siloed, the way the teams are organized, how they collaborate, what's the culture within the organization, what's their decision-making processes, right? Have direct influence on the product architecture, usability, functionality, etc. How the features are set, right? So exactly, this is what you said, making the organization about the impact, about the outcome that's supposed to be achieved, the experiences you want to influence within your target audience. This is the key. I couldn't agree more.
And that's why I try to run away from a typical PMO organization to kind of more product centric, where we would create a product governance model exactly like we did with around value streams, the strategy and so on. So a bit what I wrote on the organizational mastery book. So it's to how destroy the whole project centric stuff to go to a more product centric.
All right. Okay. But theory is great. Like, I love it. I love it when I do have the strategy, kind of drafting a new company, could be with value streams, could be with tribes, could be with whatever, let's say, framework approach we have. But let's talk about the real life transformation, right? Can you share a use case of a company you cooperated with? You successfully transition from the project-based to product-driven.
I will share an example of a company that 5 years later, they still send the pictures of what I implemented there. So
nice.
I think that's a very, very, very good sign that it survived. So the company is a very powerful company in Europe. So it's Metro, this biggest supermarket, And actually, the whole book, Organizational Mastery, was written during this transformation. So that's why a lot of people tell me that the book is so practical, because it was practical. I was doing the implementation during the day. In the evening, I was writing the book. So, and it was very, very interesting, because at that time, Metro had around 2,000 engineers, not 2,000 people, 2,000 engineers, Metro Systems. And they were a very, very old-fashioned company. So what we did was of course, it was not everything at the same time, but little by little, we identified 12 possible startups within that big company. What we started to do is we started to identify, and we started the biggest transformation. We started with the web shop. So basically, we draw a line around everyone that contributed to the web shop. So the first cluster was around 300 people, because you need to think about it was the whole checkout, the whole distribution. We are talking about trucks. We are talking about the whole thing. And if you want to find, a lot of people ask me, how do you build a value stream? The value stream, there is a process that is very easy for you to identify value streams. If you start, and at that time we did that, if you started to build OKRs for product, not for departments, because this is it's a very common mistake, is people do OKRs, but they will do OKRs based on the departments. No, do OKRs from the product point of view, from the customer. What are the problems that you are solving to the customer? When you do OKRs from the product point of view, you will identify all the different people that are needed to deliver or to solve that problem. So then immediately the OKR is already telling you what is your organization, what is your value stream. And that's how actually we started, right? So then we identify that. Then what we did is every three months we defined the OKRs, and we started to define with all the other OKRs, the sub OKRs, we started to identify the sub value streams, because The biggest
Mm-hmm.
one was 300, 400 people. I don't remember anymore. But then you have all the sub teams, right? The whole experience on the web shop, then the delivery, etc., etc. And
Mm-hmm.
we need to deliver as much as possible end to end. And when you then you have a strategy, you have the value stream, then you start to create your own governance model, as I discussed 5 minutes ago. You started to have
Mm-hmm.
your teams, you started to have your strategy, you start to have your innovation after 3 months, you start to have your communities of practice. So as you said, you start to design a small organization within the bigger organization. And you start to change the culture. You start to change the way how you communicate. You start to change the way how you deliver. So out of these 2,000 people, we design around 12 startups, but this one and another product was the one that has the biggest impact because it was the most important one for the business. But we left it in a way that the idea, the way how we left it was every 3 months we would bring another product, and then they would
Mm-hmm.
feed the learnings of the previous change would feed the next change. So at
Love
the
it.
end, there
Yeah.
was like 4, 5, 6 transformations, always one fitting with the learnings of the next one,
Mm-hmm.
and the next one, and the next one. So basically, when it reached the third or the fourth transformation, there was already a lot of know-how how to change the organization. And this was a very, very interesting case study. And as I said, 5 years later, still they send me pictures of the whole events, of the whole OKRs and the whole translation of the OKRs into the backlog, the value streams. Very, very, very interesting.
Awesome. And I believe one of the crucial points here is to have the alliance within CXOs, within the
Don't even try to do
engineers
it.
themselves.
Don't even try to do it without it. So I
Yeah.
can honestly, openly tell me that I was brought in by the CEO
Mm-hmm.
because he was one of my previous bosses in the previous companies. And I know that every week he had meetings where people tried to get rid of me. That was very clear, me and my team, because we are completely breaking the entire politics silos, right? So
Exactly, right?
we
The
are
resistance is huge
is huge,
during this.
right?
Yeah.
So we are breaking the political silos. We are destroying the heads of this, the heads of that, the heads of that, because we are creating
Mm-hmm.
value streams. At the end of the day, there is the maximum. There's a PO or has a super PO, well, let's call it for this purpose, on that stream, and then there is a head. Period, right? So the IT director stopped having power to decide what are the requirements that are coming because the requirements are coming through the OKRs, through the business. So there's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people that lose power. So of course, a lot of people try to get rid of the ones that are doing the transformation.
Yeah. I agree. I could see this a lot of times during a lot of transformations. And I would love to look from this perspective, actually, from the executives, let's say investors' perspective. Whenever they think of such a change, there is a huge investment within it, right? So we need to look for some ROI, efficiency, how we can present it to them in the very first stages of such transformation to actually get them on board, because sometimes there is no alignment within the, let's say, the executive, the C
So
level,
I
and
have
they need to be convinced. Yeah.
that's a very good trick. So the trick I do, and if someone want to copy, the trick I do is I don't go into any company with two. So I only go into company with two conditions. First,
Mhm.
they read my book, one of the books, where basically the product first, the last book that I wrote about the product first is the 3 days workshop that we run. But when you read the book, basically you are being guided through the whole workshop. So it's a fable, it's a
Mhm.
fictitious story of me facilitating the workshop. So they
Mhm.
immediately understand what are the pillars of the change. And they immediately can understand if this is something that they would like to try or not. Right. So that's a very, very safe. It's right now they started to know me, started to know our work, and started to see
Mhm.
the approach. Then, if they like it, the book is made in a way that, okay, let's come here 3 days. And then we do the workshop. And the workshop is done in a way that it's at the end of the workshop, you have a prototype of a possible organizational design and a prototype
All right.
of a possible
Kind of a
change.
blueprint.
It's a blueprint of
Yeah.
one part of the organization, not the whole
All right.
organization, right? So at the end, you can say, do we have the commitment from the management to do this experiment? And we do in this specific order with these specific people in this specific part of the organization. We don't do full scale because we don't believe in full scale transformations, because if you want to change nothing, change everything, right? So we believe in small experiments, and usually that works very well. I cannot really talk about specific ROI numbers and so on, but usually they are the first ones saying, man, if we solve this problem here, this would take us to the next level. I did a workshop a couple of years ago where the C-level told me, if we solve this, we immediately get 6-7 million back, immediate, straight. So sometimes they are the first ones. They are the ones telling us how much they are losing, right? So, and then it's a mathematic. Okay, this is costing 6-7. The implementation might cost 1-2 million, whatever. So it's a no-brainer, right? And this is the way how I learn, is the way how I try to show value before a big commitment to them, because today's workshop is peanuts compared with the full-scale transformation. And if you go with the full-scale transformation without having commitment of the team as a whole, the management team, is a disgrace. So what I learned is this workshop works very nicely as a buy-in from the team management team point of view as well.
All right, I got you. And yeah, this is the hard one, because the changing process is one thing, but shifting the culture within the whole organization. I got that you have, let's say, the management on board, but how they can actually, as leaders, maybe you do have some practical steps, some guidance for leaders that listen to us, how they can ensure employees at all levels, no matter, let's say, if it's a regular engineer or other managers or peers throughout the organization, to embrace, to engage with such a change.
They cannot. And I'm a very strong opinionated person on that topic. So the thing is, you need to make a very tough choice. So every time people come to me, one of the first questions that I ask on that sense is, how many people do you believe it will quit? That's immediately the first question I ask, because they will not be able to get a buy-in from everyone on the organization. So what I believe they need to do is, they need to give the tools, they need to have the patience, they need to give lean coffees, and they need to coach, they need to explain, but they need to understand a lot of people will not buy in because they do not want to change. And then the answer is very clear. You need to invite the people, you give the chance to learn, you need the chance for people to contribute. If not, you need to get rid of them. And it sounds very rush, very, very harsh, but it's just humans. Some humans want to learn, they want to progress, and others are very comfy and they will not adapt. And, a bad apple will destroy the whole tree. So at some point, again, you need to give the option and the time to people to adapt, to help them to adapt. But at the end of the day, it's their choice. If they don't want, then they need to be invited to leave. This is my opinion. A lot of people believe that they can't have this whole collaboration. I don't believe, because when I entered, for example, when I entered Metro and that project, at that time I was 38 years old, and I was introduced to a guy that in that week he turned 44 years that he was in Metro. Now imagine, I'm 38 years old, he's 44 in the company. I'm not saying that all people are very relented to change, because I met a lot of older guys with much more energy than the younger guys, but 44 years doing the same job in the same way, it will be hard to people to change. They are very afraid because they are very close to the retirement. They don't want. The guy was 2 years away from the retirement. Say, oh, I just want to count my days to the retirement, right? So I'm a very direct person on that. I believe we need to support people, but not everyone will want to have the support.
100%. We're reaching actually our time. So one more thing I would love to
Mm-hmm.
ask you is maybe you do have some, small but kind of impactful advice for the leaders, business owners, founders, CEOs, product managers that listen to us. They could start, working on tomorrow, moving them toward a product-driven approach. What would that be? Do the value stream mapping as you said,
I
like look for
will.
the OKRs or?
No, I think it's something more deep.
Mm,
I really invite them to think that if all the knowledge that led them to be where they are is the knowledge that will led them to be where they want to be in 10 years. What I want to say with this is, once I talked with the leader, it was one of the best leaders I ever had in my life. He was 55.
mhm,
And he told me, I asked him, and I asked, why are you so successful? And he said, I'm very successful because I understood I'm 55 years old. I'm running a $2 billion company. And it's very interesting because I realized that everything what I learned that led me to be here will kill me if I will apply exactly the same thing. So I need to relearn everything every single year, the way how I lead organizations, if I want to become or if I want to be kept as a relevant leader. And that for
mhm,
me was a aha moment, was really a killer because, this guy is 55 years old, running a $2 billion company. He could say, I'm damn good, I couldn't care less. But still, this
mhm,
guy said, no, I am here because I learned a lot, I have applied a lot of stuff, but I know if I keep using everything what I applied until today, the society is different, the way how we develop organization is different, I will kill the organization. So for the leaders to think, it's not so much about OKRs, it's something much more profound. Think
mhm.
if what you learn until today is what will be useful to drive you in the future.
Love it. The learning curve is a key to be successful and always kind of open mindset to get the feedback, which is kind of not even kind of, which is a center of the product, let's say oriented approach, right? The user
Yeah.
centricity and collecting feedback and working on it,
It's
which
it,
actually,
it's super
yeah,
tricky because if you go to an MBA, if you go to a very good school, everyone is teaching you industrial era organizational design. Everyone is teaching you how to run a project organization. No one is teaching you how to run a product organization. Nowadays, good products they do, but still
changing.
99% of
Yeah.
the products, the programs, they still teach you how to build an industrial era company, not a digital one. So it's tricky, very
Oh,
tricky.
I got you. Yeah, I feel you. Thank you so much, Luis.
Thank you.
Dear audience, if you're still hesitating to join Agile Builders, Product Builders community, sorry, and be, present in such an interesting conversation as we had today, this is the time. And grow with us as we do and change with us as we do every single time we present you with new experts, new experiences from different business sectors. And don't go anywhere actually, because our next episode is coming pretty soon. Stay connected on our profiles for updates, and we'll see you next time with more hands-on insights and experts' knowledge. Thank you once again, Luis. Have a
Thank you so much.
great rest of the day.
Thank you. Bye bye. Thank you, man. Thank you,
Bye.
guys. See you. Bye bye.